Right. Hey, Facebook Live. Hope you are doing well. How you been? It's been a few days since I have come here in Facebook Live. Actually, I gotta plug this in. Sorry. Oh my word. Okay. I hope you can hear me better. Okay, that just kicked in. All right. Well, it's been a few days. I'm going to turn this down just a little bit. Been a few days since I've come on Facebook Live. Hope you are doing very, very, very well. We are still talking about 100 days, 100 talks in 100 days, and want to. I don't know, I should probably have that little hashtag here. I'm going to type that up. Let's do that. I guess I have that on the description, but we're just going to show it right there. Right there. Second time, 100 talks, 100 days. So that doesn't mean that I'm giving 100 talks in 100 days. That means I'm doing my darndest. Okay. I am really, really trying to help as many people as I can to get accepted for their TEDx talk or, whatever it is. TEDx is the big share in the room. A lot of people that I'm hearing from some really amazing caliber people saying, I'm trying to get, stage time on my favorite guru's stage. And the competition is so huge. And they're right. The competition is absolutely huge. You know what? It's also high competition to get accepted for a TEDx talk, but why not do both? If you are working towards competing to be on your favorite guru stage or to get your favorite paid speaking gig, why not consider repurposing that and applying to a TED or a TEDx? Because it's just such a powerful vehicle. Is it my vehicle? No, it's not my vehicle. I'm all about getting people unstuck and helping unlock their ideas. And I've just come to realize something. I really, even though I do Be the Talk podcast, I had this thing for a long, long time, even still kind of have it. And because I see so many other people and they're like, I'm a TED coach and I'm a speaker. And some of these people have never given actual TEDx talks. And I see, all the time, I reach out to people on LinkedIn and they say they're a TEDx coach. And I say, hey, congratulations on your TEDx talk. And they say, what talk are you talking about? I've never given a TEDx. And I said, well, bad me to lead with that, given your self-description on LinkedIn. It's really, really interesting. So I didn't want to be like that, but I realized something. As long as I'm having this judgment that I don't want to be whatever like that is, how many people am I helping? Not many, right? Not many. You probably figured this out. I couldn't figure this out for a while. It was like, I just want to, have my little, superiority thing, I guess. And meanwhile, I'm giving talks and I'm doing this podcast, and I just finally had to kind of humble myself and realize, hey, you know what? If people think that I'm that, guy, and they think it's cheesy or what I don't care, because I want to help people. I want to help. I keep pointing the wrong way. It's a mirror image. 100 people give 100 talks in 100 days. Okay, so 2019, now is the time to be applying. If you don't know how to apply, you can take my free 5-day email course, and it'll show you how to literally do the habits every day. I can't say get accepted because I don't, I can't guarantee that you're going to do anything based on the information that I've carefully provided. But I have a free 5-day email course that's probably way too long and probably way too free. And you go to bethetalk.com/get accepted. It's up right now. It's still there. It's still up. It's probably too long. And there's some amazing collaborations in the works right now. And that's all I'm going to say. And I may or may not have that particular resource up that much longer, just because of all the other. I'm just trying to find out what works. I want to help 100 people by the end of 2018 get accepted or get pretty close to giving their talk in 2018 or 2019. So that really brings us to today's piece. What do you do? Here's the question. What do you do when you find out that you're in either one of these spots. Okay, I was in one, and my friend Ricky actually is in the other. And what do you do when you're actually opening or closing? Not just that you've gotten accepted, but that they like you so much, and it is because they like you. So it's not because they're just randomly picking someone to close or someone to open. What do you do? Forgot to mention this piece. Just comment, let me know where you're watching from, just so that I can say hi. I'm trying to, do a better job of actually listening so that I can be helpful and so that I can connect. You see me doing all of this production, which you can tell I love doing the production, and I love being busy, and I love looking like I'm busy. But you know what? Am I really connecting to people? Am I connecting to people? I tell you what, when I was in Guatemala a few years ago, when I was in Paraguay a few years ago, those are really beautiful pattern interrupts in my life where it forces me to listen to people. And I'm, frankly, just so happy to do that. And I don't need to go to another country and do leadership training in order to listen to people. So please let me respond to you, a comment, whatever. Hopefully I see these in real time. You know what? My coach told me a really good tip, and I was listening. She said, when you do a Facebook Live, you can watch yourself on your phone. And then if people are trying to comment, then you know what the heck they might be saying if you just watch yourself. Now, the bad news is it sucks up a lot of bandwidth if you do that, but that is okay. I just got to find myself on the feed here. Give me just a second. Let's put my own name in there. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. There it is. Doesn't look like too much activity happening. That's okay, because you can still comment after this is no longer Facebook Live. So let's go back to the opening question here. All right. You didn't just get accepted. All right. This is hypothetical because very few people, only 150,000 people have given a TEDx talk. Okay. Out of maybe 7.5 billion people. All right. In case you're wondering, I'm focused on the 7.5 billion people who haven't given their talk yet and need to give their talk and have real value to share, rather than the 150,000, like the point, I don't know what that is, 0.00001 billion, okay, who already have given and all of that. So you got accepted. That's great. But I don't know about my friend Ricky, who just found out that he's opening. But I know when I got the ping and they said, not only are you accepted, not only are we excited, but we want you to close. We want you to close. And man, I should almost probably get up and show you the program. I mean, there was a cabinet level chief technology or chief information officer for a cabinet level position who was not closing that day, who I think should have closed, kept the people in the room. That was way more impressive than any title or position that I've ever had. And then there was a 20 million book best-selling author. This guy sold so many books. I had 2 of his books from 20 years ago. And that guy wasn't closing. They wanted me to close. I'm like, have the guy that sold the 20 million books. He will keep the people in the room. But no, they said when the organizer says, Nathan, or fill in your name, you're closing. Or Ricky, as the case may be, you are opening. It is what it is. Okay. The organizer is like, a minor deity. They call the shots, and it's like jump, and it's like, how high shall I jump for you, Ms. Organizer or Mr. Organizer? That's basically the case here. So all that to say, I just got a ping from one of the members of the Get Accepted beta group who got accepted. There are actually 2 members of this group. They're giving talks on opposite sides of the world on the same day. given talks, 2 of them in a beta group of only, I think we don't even have 40 people in that group. I wanted to keep it really, really small because I wanted to figure out, really what are the challenges? What are people wrestling with? What's the pace going to be like? How are they going to respond? Is it a sprint? Is it a marathon? I'm finding out a lot of things. And, crazy because 2 people in the group got accepted, opposite sides of the world, same day they're giving their first TEDx talk. I'm just really, really looking forward to this. This is amazing. Okay. So let's talk about really quick when you're closing. And I can speak to this from personal experience because they accepted me at TEDx Harrisburg about a little over a year ago. And then they told me, hey, guess who's closing? You are. And then when you hear that, I'm just going to speak from personal experience. I mean, I'm a performing artist, okay? I retired from classical music like 20 years ago. And that's a fancy way of how I choose to describe that. But I've given a lot of performances. I've had a lot of stage time. I still have dreams. The other night I dreamed I had to give a Beethoven memorized piano performance on 0 notice and had the sight read it off a sheet in front of people for a concert, which still isn't really kosher to do. So anyway, all that to say, I've got a fair amount of experience on stage, and yet this is a different level. I'm not saying it's harder. I'm saying it's difficult. It's different. And the good news about being a performing artist, if you're an actor, if you're a dancer, if you're a singer, if you're an instrumentalist, if you're a conductor, if you've done a lot of public speaking and you're open and you've prepared in the TED manner, the short form idea centric manner, then you're going to be in a good position because you know what it's like on the stage, and you remember the fear. If you're an actor or whatever, you know that there's a certain amount of fear, and the only way you have to lean into the fear. Okay, so still, when I was told, hey, you're closing the whole event, I mean, I knew, and it was good fear because I had already prepared. I was already ready. And you know what? When they told me that, I went back and I prepared even more. I mean, I polished it really well, and then they told me it, and then I polished it even more so that I could be the best that I could possibly be. And closing, it's a certain dynamic because people are, frankly, I'm going to tell you, if you've ever done a live event or if you've ever, any kind of live event, I mean, people get tired. I mean, it's a lot of work to keep people in a room for any event for over an hour or over a half hour. I mean, we have an attention span of a goldfish, even less than a goldfish. So to have people in a room for hour number 1, hour number 2, hour number 3, in my case, and we only had, I think, 12 speakers that year. And there are a lot of events that have 30 speakers, 20 speakers, 40 speakers. So that was a relatively small event by the standards that I'm used to, but it was kind of on me to keep people in the room and to give my best and to go out there and grab them. All right. This is me grabbing the attention of tired out people who are in a food coma. All right. In the afternoon, in late or mid-October with the sun going down in an ambient light room. Okay. You got to do it because that's part of the role of the closer. All right. All of that to say this, I wanted to give Ricky a little bit of advice, and I just figured, let's just do a Facebook Live 100 talks, 100 days. I haven't done one of these in a while. And really, you need to know the amazing stuff that's going on in this course. You need to know that people are getting accepted. You need to know that they're preparing. You need to know that dozens and dozens of people have crossed the bridge in their mind between, oh, I could never be a TED speaker. Why did this person tell me about this group? Why am I, and they've crossed the bridge and they are honing their ideas and they're doing amazing stuff and they're actively applying to this stuff. And the transformation is happening at all levels. And it's just more visible with Jen and Ricky right now. So a little bit of advice to Ricky. All right. And here is this is a very not easy thing, what I'm about to say. Okay, no matter who you are, and this isn't just for TEDx, this is for any kind of an event. All right. If you are a speaker in an event and you are opening an event with other speakers in it, all right, and it is a little special in a TED format because here's the thing: you go out there, and who are you going to see? Question: audience A or audience B? All right, we know there's an online audience. And my question is, are you going to see the YouTube audience in 6 months that's going to be watching your talk? Do you see them when you look out into the audience, or do you see the live audience? All right, that's a silly question. You're going to walk out on a physical stage and they're going to be recording you, and you walk out to give your TED talk, but you walk out on that stage and you're going to see the physical, real audience that paid real money to watch you and to see you. You're going to see those folks out there, and you want to acknowledge them, right? You want to be a good speaker, right? You want to acknowledge your audience. You want to connect with that audience, all right? And I absolutely agree. You want to connect to that audience. You absolutely have to connect to that audience. Now, here's the thing, all right? You want to connect to the live audience, and it's not always easy. Okay, it's not a natural thing to connect to the live audience without how should I say, contextualizing, or I mean, time stamping, or how are we doing tonight would be an example of whatever word I can't think of right now. How are we doing tonight, everybody? All right, that would be a way that you can connect with the audience. Now, I don't recommend that. No Toastmaster would recommend that. No public speaker, because you don't say, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" That's kind of like a throwaway line. And if people paid money to see you, they don't want that to be the first line. This isn't a comedy show, but you want to go out there, and there are things that we can say. We can allude to the theme of the event overall, and we can, I guess what I'm getting at is it's easy to almost be the role of the MC, but that's not your role if you're not an MC. And I think the last time I went live, I talked about being an MC. All right, there's kind of a pull that I see this on Be the Talk when I'm auditioning my future guests who I'm going to reach out to and saying, "Hey, I think you might be a good guest." I watch a lot of talks. And when, I see people that come out and they don't think through what they're doing, and they don't really think through the ramifications of what it looks like when that's the start of their TED Talk. And the whole world sees, "Hey, how are we doing tonight?" Or, "Man, that was quite a thunderstorm last night." Or, whatever little localized, contextualized, time-stamped comment that does not add any value to the YouTube audience or the global audience. We got to be really, really careful about that. Now, not every event has an MC, all right? And the event that one of the people in the group is at, it's their first event ever. Okay, so everybody's on a learning curve at this event, and it's going to be a great thing. It's really great to be able to say, "I was there. I was the opening speaker." And Ricky's going to be able to say this. "I was the opening speaker for the opening event of this particular TEDx license ever." All right. Literally, he's the first person walking on that stage as a speaker. Now, they may have an MC. It may be the organizer acting as the MC. There might be another person as an MC. They might actually not really have an MC, all right? And regardless, here's my advice, all right, from being there and has an MC, being there as a closer, watching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these, and watching many times, seeing people with I'll call them throwaway first words. Now, no disrespect intended, but that's kind of what they are, because you've got different audiences. I felt the pressure myself. All right. I felt the pressure. I had my stuff that I had prepared, and I also wanted to be present. And there's a way to be present appropriately. And there's also a way to be present and be flexible, yet largely or entirely stick with the script. Okay. And I wish you watch my talk that I gave, and I was kind of trying to do a little bit of both. The organizers and the people that were coaching me in that event, who I wanted to respect because they were giving me the opportunity, they kind of, it was kind of like I don't know that I think they probably did say this to me, but not in these words, but it's almost like straddling both audiences. And it's really hard to do that. So the best I can say is go out there, connect emotionally and presently with the audience, but be careful what you say. Do not say, hey, wow, we're going to have a great show and this is our theme for the event. And we've got so many great talkers, and let's give them all a hint. Don't do that. This is your talk. All right. That's the MC's job. I'm telling you, there's gonna be this little urge that you have to kind of step out of the preparation. And I'm not talking about being present. Be present and stick with the plan and still be present. Do not go way over here and just be all super spontaneous, because we're going to see that. And it's not going to be as spontaneous on the YouTube video. I hope that makes sense. I think the main thing is, I just want you to know there's going to be this weird urge to go off road, and that's great anywhere else, but this stuff is being recorded. So if there's an MC there, that's the MC's job. Show the MC this Facebook Live video. All right. You can do this. This is public. This is on Facebook Live. All right. That's part of the reason that I'm doing this. If there's no MC, or if it's just kind of they read your bio and then they walk off stage, all right, that's beyond your control. And unless you want to take the first minute or 10 seconds or 30 seconds of your TED Talk, recorded TED Talk, and do all of this irrelevant stuff, all of this stuff that's going to be meaningful one time only, and it's going to dilute and possibly turn off the viewing audience online, that's what you're dealing with. There will be an urge, because we're all spontaneous people. Just be aware that that's going to be there. I think that's my best tip that I can give at this point when you're opening. That is absolutely huge. If they don't have the bases taken care of, they don't have the bases taken care of, and that's not your job to do that. And I would recommend do not sacrifice the first impression of your talk to do that, especially like Ricky is a global brand. I mean, he's a personal brand. He's not a global brand, meaning he's worth $100 billion or something, but he is a global brand. He is a global digital nomad. All right. And he is opening this up because he is an international man of mystery. He is a world traveler, and his whole family are rock star. I'm saying all kinds of great stuff about Ricky because he is. All right. He has a brand. He has multiple books. He has all of that stuff. So my advice, whether you have that kind of a stage-ready brand, or if this is your first time public speaking, for a lot of TED speakers it's the same. All right, stay on brand. All right, stay on brand. Do not put the air mask on everybody else in the plane. Okay, that should have been thought of. It should have been taken care of. All right, put the air mask on yourself. Do what you prepared to do, so that you don't have some of the regrets that many people have. I have a little bit of regret in the way that I did my talk, just because I did a couple of things that didn't really translate very well on the video. And I was trying to kind of do it all. And what I realized is you can't do it all. So better to perform for the camera while trying to really have a meaningful connection with the audience. But ultimately, it's the camera. Right now, I'm talking as Facebook Live. If I had 20 people in the room with me, that would be great. But in this format, it's Facebook Live. So my question to you, okay? Did this make any sense whatsoever? I hope it did. Now, depending on how far along you are in this world, maybe you've attended some TED events. Maybe you've, like me, you did some VIP things and you started getting involved, maybe even volunteered, maybe you sponsored a little bit. So, I mean, there's this continuum. So those of you that this is really new to, this might be a little deeper. You want to come back to this later when you're applying, and certainly after you got accepted. Those of you that are a lot more involved, I think this is going to make a lot more sense, and that's why I wanted to make this a resource. So Ricky, Jen, congratulations. This is really, really excited. All of us in Talk Universe, we're rooting for you. You're trailblazing. And man, any questions that any of you have, not Ricky and Jen, but anyone about this, just type it out in the comments. Happy to engage. Going back to what I originally started out with, if you're trying to get on, Tony Robbins' stage, I don't know that he does this, but I mean, if there was a competition to be on Tony Robbins' stage and he's going to pick out the 25 best, Tony Robbins certified speakers, or whatever it is, or your favorite guru, or your favorite thought leader, or your favorite paid gig, or maybe the National Speakers Association. I don't think they're called Platform anymore. I think that only lasted like a week. Inside joke. Just don't throw rocks at me. Just saw, reminder about that the other day. Any of these speakers associations where you have to, compete to be on stage. I've done the same thing. I was really privileged. I got on the stage and it was awesome and it was worth it. I want to tell you, it's worth it when you get picked. And until you get picked, it's also worth it because you're working really hard. I'm just simply suggesting to you, why not get accepted for your first TED Talk? Why not do that? If you're, don't get so laser focused on, I want to be on the Mr. Rogers speaker stage. All right, I'm just hypothetical because Mr. Rogers isn't, bless his soul, he's not around anymore. But it's like I wanted to be on the Mr. Rogers speaking circuit stage, and there was only room for a handful of people. And I mean, the whole thing is set up to only get the best of the best of the best of the best. So you know what? What do? We don't complain about that, but we also diversify. All right. We say, okay, I want to be on the Mr. Rogers stage. I want to be on the Big Bird stage. I want to be on the Colonel Sanders stage. I want to be on the Weird Al Yankovic stage. I want to give my first TED Talk. All right. So now I've got 5 stages instead of just that one that because I'm Weird Al Yankovic certified. All right. As a humorist who sings. All right. And I don't know that there's any such thing, but I'm just pulling a hypothetical funny example. Now, I hope everybody watching this has a sense of humor about the whole thing. I want to be on the Weird Al Yankovic certified stage. All right, great. I'm saying let's just broaden it out. All right, let's put some of the odds also in your favor. If you're going to work that hard, all right, come on, folks. Piano bench, my butt. All right, my backside was on the piano bench for 2 decades. Started out a half hour a day, and then on towards the end, it was like hours and hours and hours and hours a day. Got a like out of that. You know what it's like. Some of you had mama made you play the violin every day or whatever. All right. You work hard. All right. And here's the thing that I've realized. What's the boiling point? It's 100 degrees centigrade, right? 100 degrees for the globe. For Americans like me, it's 212 Fahrenheit, all right? So it's like you're trying to and let's say, I don't know, there is any such thing of perfection, but maybe there was this beautiful recipe or a dish and you had to heat the water to 110 centigrade, all right? But and maybe the dish is perfect, but nobody else cares for the dish. They're all allergic to that food, and all they need is for you to boil the water. Once you get it to 100 centigrade, the water boils, and that's good enough for them. Everybody else to cook, contaminate, all of that. I think, I think that's what we're talking about here. I was trying to be perfect, and at least 20, 30, 40, 50% of my effort was extra effort. It was extra effort, and it actually was wasted effort because I didn't always get to the stages, and I didn't have always the strategy to get me there. I mean, you wonder why I'm talking about this and harping on this. 100 days, 100 talks. 100 days. Why am I harping on this? Because I want to really help you get up on that stage. All right. I know what it's like to be on the stage, and it's so easy. Everybody comes up to you. They all have a line. They want to tell you how great you did. And it's really, really cool. And you work really hard. And then the praise is there. And then, if you had more emotional intelligence than I did as a kid, then you're like, oh, well, and then you turn it around and you ask them about themselves, and then you become this great mentor and stuff. I didn't do that. I just listened to them tell me how great my little Mozart sonatina was, and I missed out on huge opportunities earlier in life. All right. Why am I harping on this now? Because I don't want you to have that letdown, because you'll wake up the next morning and say, okay, well, how do I get back on the stage? Got to practice another hour and a half of repertoire, memorize it, polish it, run through it. And then now I get to tell everybody and try to get them all to come back again. It doesn't work very easily that way. I don't want that to happen to you. I want you to work smart. All right. And the good news is this: you don't need to spend anywhere near as much time and effort that I spent doing the things that I did time-wise and grunt work-wise, because I didn't do it very efficiently. And when you don't do things very efficiently, you don't do things very effectively. That's why I'm passionate about this. It doesn't take a whole lot of time to really hone an idea. All right. The processes that I teach, it doesn't take much money. Doesn't take much. I teach them for free. If you know where to get them. Doesn't take much time or focus or energy at all. I'm just passionate about this. I'm helping you getting unstuck, helping you create really well-honed ideas. I had ideas that were like 4-level yesterday, and I used my own process when I was driving around today, and I leveled those in just a matter of minutes and a couple of cycles, reviewed those, and I leveled them from a 4 to probably a 7 or maybe an 8. All right. And then I had meetings with people, and then I could come to the meeting with maybe level 7, maybe level 8 collaboration potential in the eyes of the other person who I was talking to. It was pretty high level mover and shaker person getting stuff done. All right. It's good to be an 8. All right. And especially if a lot of times they're used to talking to 7s or 6s, and I show up and I appear to be an 8, but I really had just a level 4 this morning. All right. I don't know if you followed that, but this is where I live, and this is all about, and maybe I need to connect better. Tell me what languaging I need to use to connect to the people. I'm just trying to articulate this. When you're a high performance person, or used to be, you had a very high performance background. I know what it's like to have really high performance, not just standards and work ethic. And I also know what it's like to just miss, in some ways, the boat, literally and figuratively. I know what it's like to miss the boat, and then you're like, oh, how do I start from scratch? And I know the frustration, and really, I don't want to say despair, but there are some really colorful emotions, not in a good way, kind of like grayscale emotions that you feel when you know what it's like. I mean, it's kind of like, 1 week you're at a great conference and you paid a lot of money to be at the conference, and you're hanging out with all kinds of really bright people that are doing all kinds of things, and they have strengths where you don't have strengths, but then you talk about the things you're doing that you don't think is really all that interesting. And then they're like, wow, I don't know how to do, internet marketing, or I don't know how to do gesture, or NLP, or whatever the thing is that people might be doing, or you might be doing, that the other person doesn't. And you're hanging out at this great event that everybody invested in. And then now you're back home, and maybe you live in a really small town, or maybe you're in the wrong side of the big town, and it's just really, really hard. I know what it's like to be in that spot. I know what it's like to be, rolling and moving and have everybody think, man, this guy's really got it together. And I know what it's like when it falls apart, and I know what it's like to put it together again. I know, I know what it's like. It wasn't easy to take my dream job of teaching, not just college. All right. My whole life, I wanted to teach college in music in college. And then I realized I could teach another subject matter. I'm like, I got my dream job. And after a couple of years of that, I actually let go of the dream job. It wasn't easy because I was really letting go of a fancy title and position. And I just know what it's like to be all around that. So all of this about you, I don't want you to be so laser vision on the Weird Al Yankovic official stage as a speaker, or whatever stage you're trying to get on. I'm using silly examples. Why not do the same plan as when you got your last job or when you applied to college? They tell us, send out a bunch of resumes, target it, and then find 20 places you want to work that are targeted and send out 20 resumes and find out 20 real live people that work in those jobs. All right. And do it smartly, but do it to 20. And don't rest until you have a full-time job. That's basically it. And that's a lot of what I teach and get accepted. So anyway, 100 talks, 100 days. I should probably make these talks a whole lot shorter, but I'm just learning the languaging too, my friends. I'll make them shorter in the future. Thanks for watching. Thanks for spreading, sharing, commenting, and I'll see you later. I want to help you get accepted. Take care.